This is Brindlewood Bay Tourist Season Part 7. I think it's Part 7. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping. So I want to give you all a chance to make adjustments to your end of session questions if you want to do that. We're kind of in the middle of some cliffhangers, but you still get to change your end of session questions right now if you want to. Just to sort of like angle your role playing towards answering those questions in the affirmative. And I want to run through conditions. I'm just going to read them off. This is mostly for people watching the video, but I'm going to read them off while you all make adjustments to your end of session questions. So Esther has Bloodhound and Unnerved. Ruth has Shaken. Ida has Someone is Watching Me. And Laura has still The Black Dog and The Clouded Past, which have been very, very influential on Laura's story so far. We did end on like 2 cliffhangers. So the first cliffhanger is that Ruth put her hand in now deceased Maxime's pocket and pulled out a viper. And I think Ruth was going to try to dispatch the viper or grab it and throw it away or something, but got a 6- on the roll, which we're going to talk about in a moment. I do want to check in about a line and veil though. For the lines and veils, do we think that like what's our line here for like how to deal with this snake? Like, is it okay to kill the snake? Does that violate the line? Or what do we think? Just want to make sure we're all kind of simpatico as far as that goes.
That's my line, I think, more than anyone else's.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't love it myself, just as a general matter, but I usually think of like pet animals more than like snakes,
I'm okay if the snake dies, but I would prefer that to be veiled. Like, I don't want to hear about all the details.
Sounds good. I just want to clarify that. Thank you. And in case it comes to that. And the other cliffhanger is Esther is descending down some stairs to the basement of the theater where Gregor Thune has extended his hand and he's pretending to be the Occluded King, and he has stated that he believes Esther is Persephone in the flesh. And Bo is upstairs sort of playing the symbolic role of Kerberos right now. And Ida just found Bo, and so that's kind of where that situation is. We have not done a roll yet, but I think it's going to be night move just for keeping calm in the situation, Ida or Esther. And so that's what's going on there. And then Laura, it wasn't really a cliffhanger, but we did sort of see Laura off to the Sinclair's apartment a little early. Laura's going to go a little early to their dinner party, which is probably going to be sort of a maudlin affair at this point, considering 2 members of their troupe have been killed in the last 24 hours. So that's where everything sort of stands. I want to pick up with the Viper thing, though. And I think we have a couple of choices here, Dan. One, you can, I have an idea for cut to commercial, and we can do that, and you could just get a 10+ on your roll if you wish. Or we can role play it out, probably watch Ruth die, and then you can use the crown to save Ruth. So I will, normally I don't usually give you a choice, I'll just say cut to commercial, but in this case I want to give you a choice. So what do you think?
Let's do commercial.
Okay, so good. So your cue for cut to commercial is Calamity Raccoon's Good Time Pizza Farm, a child's pizza arcade restaurant. Spoilers for people watching the video and for the other players. I gave Dan a heads up on this, so but I'm excited. We're going to kick off today's episode with the commercial. So let's take it away, Dan.
Okay, so the commercial opens and we see like a kitchen, and there's like a woman in like very stereotypical like housewife garb with like the apron and everything, like stirring this pot on the stove. And there's 2 little boys there, and they start sniffing, and they're like, "Oh no, chowder again? And so then we see like the kitchen, like the trash can in the corner of the kitchen, like the lid pops up and Calamity Raccoon's head comes out of it, and he like shushes them. They're like, Calamity Raccoon, and he like rolls a ball out of the trash can, and as the wife is like carrying the chowder from the stove, she steps on this ball and like it goes flying and she falls on the ground, and she's like, oh, my leg. And so then we cut and we're in the hospital, and they're rolling her back, and she's in a wheelchair and they're rolling her back, and like the dad is there and he's like, I guess you boys are still hungry, huh? I think there's a pizza place next door. And the kids like look at each other and they're excited, and Calamity Raccoon is outside. He's like waving them on. And then they go next door and you see like this montage of like just stuffing pizza in their mouths and playing arcade games and listening to like the Calamity Raccoon Good Time Fun Band. And then they cut back and like they're covered in like, you know, slap bracelets and glow sticks and whatnot. And the mom is there like walking out of the hospital on crutches. And the kids are like, this was the best day ever. Can we come back again? And then it cuts and it's like, you know, the voiceover is like, visit Calamity Raccoon's Good Time Pizza Farm's new location in the Worcester Medical Center. That's it.
Fabulous. Bravo. Thank you. You get a 10 plus, Ruth. And so go ahead and describe how you safely dispatch the viper, or just tell us what you do.
So I was trying to kind of grab it behind the head, right? So I could just, you know, grab it without getting bit. And so, you know, I've got some field experience. I was a biologist. It's not my first snake that I've ever caught. So I think it's pretty easy to do that and like yank it out. And I think I asked for like a jar or something from behind the bar and just stick it in this jar. So like put the cap on and like, I don't know, maybe I'll use this snake for something later.
Yeah, you can put the viper in your cozy little place if you want.
Sounds good.
Esther, I think I want the night move here. What are you afraid is going to happen if you lose your nerve right now?
Not to make your job difficult, but I'm afraid I'm gonna die.
That's okay.
Like, don't know how it's worse than that, but I'm afraid I'm gonna die.
I think you will die, and you will discover that Gregor Thune is actually channeling the Occluded King. That's how it's worse. Although fictionally it might be better for us as players, but it's worse for Esther. And so I love it. Go ahead and roll. I'm going to say roll composure, but you do currently have unnerved, so I'm going to make you take it at disadvantage.
Ooh, that's still a 7.
Very good. I'll tell you what's, well, I think I have to, am I supposed to narrate? I better look at the move. I promise I wrote the game. You do it or hold steady, but there's a complication or cost. I describe it. Okay. So the complication or cost is going to be related to somewhat to this idea that I alluded to earlier, which is Gregor Thune might actually be channeling the Occluded King, right? And I'm going to give you the condition Bride of the Occluded King. You can interpret whatever that, however you wish, but that's what it is. And I think essentially what happens is you are carefully going downstairs and you see the Occluded King sort of appear in your vision in the middle of this inky blackness. And he looks as he did on stage, right? With the big crimson crown and all that stuff. And he is, both of you are standing on a little island in a glistening black underground lake. And I guess my question for you here is twofold. How do you feel and what do you do?
I think that I feel. I mean, I have both my conditions of like bloodhound and unnerved, and I think that actually like actually sums up how I feel. Is there's this like intrigue, this this draw that I can't ignore that like keeps making me closer, but there's that part of me that's like, this is a bad idea. Bad idea. And I'm going to reach out and touch his face.
I'm going to cut over to Ida. So, Ida, what are you doing right now?
I think from what we, as I recall, right from where we established it last session, Ida's at the top of the stairs, sort of right as Gregor makes his invite to Esther, sort of beckoning her forwards, and that sort of faintly drifts up the stairs. And so I think hearing this, foreign voice that she hasn't heard, beckoning with these dark sounding words, and knowing that it must be Esther down there because her beloved Beau is, of course, sitting here atop the stairs. I think Ida just, especially maybe leaning in a little bit to the like somebody's watching, she just like is hyper paranoid right now. And so fearing that Esther might be in imminent danger, I think she just like bolts down the stairs to go and see what's going on.
And I think what you see is the more mundane version of the scene, where it's just you have a little bit of dim light from upstairs that is illuminating the scene. But as your eyes adjust, you can see it more clearly. It's Ruth and a man you've never seen, and Ruth is reaching up to touch his face. And what do you do?
You mean Esther?
Oh, I'm so sorry, Esther. Yeah.
I think she like stops there, just at the base of the stairs, and maybe reaches out a hand to like there's nothing that looks imminently dangerous, but I think she like grasps the hem of Esther's shirt and just sort of tugs at it. Esther, are you all right?
You'll be snapped out of your delusion here, Esther.
So yeah, I sort of take a second and like shake it off, and I just turn and I'm like, oh Ida, oh, have you seen Beau?
Yes, you left him right at the top of the stairs. I was so worried. Who is this?
Oh, this is
And I think the actor Gregor will say, how did I get down here?
Well, you invited me down here, sir.
Oh. It must have happened then. I sometimes have these episodes. I'm too close to the work, you see. It's starting to have a strange effect on me. I apologize if I've caused you any disturbance, or if I frightened you in any way. And he just goes back up the stairs.
Yeah, Ida's like casting glances over her shoulders the whole time, because now this feels like a trap.
He just goes back up the stairs. How does Beau react, Alicia?
I think that Beau just waits silently, doesn't do anything.
Let's cut the scene there. I'm going to cut over to Laura at the apartment of the Sinclairs. And I paint the scene question for everyone. As our camera pans around the Sinclair's apartment, what do we see that hints at Ambrose and Veruca's, that's their first names, Ambrose and Veruca's fascination with death.
I think that they have a multi-volume set on one of their bookcases that details the life and intentions of like various famous serial killers.
I think they have on a stand like an extremely ornate edition of the Tibetan Book of the Dead.
I feel like that's what Laura would notice too, specifically. Yeah.
Along the mantle, they have like a line of canopic jars.
I love that detail, because somebody who didn't know would just think it's like just some pot from, you know, Pier 1 or World Market or something, right? So, yeah, that's good.
I think that standing in the entranceway, like a foyer or something, is just, instead of like a suit of armor, there's a skeleton, like a real human skeleton.
Nice. This apartment is one of those like kind of mid-century mod apartments where the living room is sunken, you know? And so you have to like go down, there's a sunken living room with a couch that goes around like 3 sides, right? And that's where you are invited to sit, Laura. Initially, it's just Veruca, Ambrose, and Giancarlo Thune, who's Gregor's wife. The others haven't showed up yet. But Veruca says, did you address yourself as Laura? I can't remember. Or did you have a pseudonym here?
No, I think yeah. So I'm not Laura, of course. Here to remind everyone also who's watching, I'm playing this leader of the second kind of alternative
Right, yeah.
theater troupe in the city, and but I'm not sure if I gave a name. I might have. I don't remember.
We'll just go with Laura, because I don't think it'll matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter for how, because they're not going to know who you are otherwise. Veruca will say, Laura, dear, please have a seat. What do you drink?
After everything that has happened, I think a strong drink would be good. Maybe do you have any bourbon?
Yes, of course. And she will go and get you something. We picked this up in Kentucky. And she'll, you know, she'll sort of pour you a bourbon, and, you know, she'll ask you how you like it, like neat or whatever, and all that. What are you doing while she's sort of getting you a drink? Giancarlo's there too. I'll remind you that Giancarlo looks the most different of all the performers, because they are normally dressed like kind of all in black, but Giancarlo has like a flower crown and is wearing like kind of pastel prints, right? I imagine she looks like Carol Baskin on Tiger King, but anyway. So
I
Giancarlo's
think
there, just sitting there with you.
Yeah, I think because I noticed all of these things that we said, all the books, the Tibetan Book of the Dead and everything, I think I really want to take a really concentrated look around the art that they might have hanging there, or anything that among all this stuff that seems normal for eccentric artist types, whether there's anything kind of really out of the ordinary, even for this kind of scene here.
Take the meddling move with reason, and you can just take it with regular dice.
Let's see. 7.
We'll come back to that. Ruth, Jeremy's there at the bar with you as well, just to remind you. the police do eventually come, and we can have that scene or not. It's up to you. What do you think?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's necessarily an interesting scene. We don't really have any named policemen to interact with or anything.
Yeah, so. I was thinking the same thing. The only thing I was thinking is maybe it might be interesting just because Jeremy's there also, and he's already been brought in.
True. Yeah.
But there's plenty of witnesses that saw Maxime kill himself, so I think it's probably fine. So in that case, where would you go after?
So I do need a scarecrow clue when you get a chance. Also,
very good. Oh, but the bar is the perfect place, right?
Right.
Before you leave, the barman, who has remained mostly off screen so far, or at least unnamed, he says to you by your last name, which you haven't shared with anyone. What is your last name, by the way? Do we know that yet?
Anderson, same as the deputy, I think.
That's right. He says, Ms. Anderson, before you go.
Yeah.
And he reaches underneath the bar and he pulls out one of those sailor's love letters. Do you know what this is? It's like a circular like art object with like mosaic on it, and it's like something that like sailors wives, like whalers wives, would present to their husbands or whatever as they were coming back. It's just, so it's like this nice little round plaque, like the sort of thing that might be given to a whaler back in the 19th century. He says, this is for you.
Oh, well, thank you, I suppose.
And then he just goes, sends you on your way.
Okay, well, I think clearly we need to, what my priority is getting Jeremy looking dapper as hell, because I want him to get the role in this play. So we're going shopping, and that's what we're doing. And then I'm going to take him to the party. Okay.
More fun with Jeremy in Boston.
Exactly.
While everyone else does their thing. Good. I love it. It's good. And yeah, you now have 2 floating clues. So
great.
Let's have that scene in the basement. I want to pick up with that, if that's okay, between Esther and Ida. Role play.
I think Ida, as soon as she hears, it's Gregor, right?
Gregor Thune, yeah.
Gregor, yeah. So as soon as she hears Gregor reach the top of the stairs and like silence finally settles once again in what was this very tense moment, I think Ida just like embraces Esther and like hugs her tight and like buries her chin in her shoulder, and it's just like, I am so glad you're all right. I was so worried. It's been a very strange day.
It has indeed. I think we could both use a drink.
I would welcome getting out of here, certainly.
I'd love to hear, over drinks, maybe about what you discovered.
Yes. I'd love to share with you what I've seen and heard today. Things are starting to seem more strange, more complicated. You remember the ghost in Snowdrop House, if we call it that? I'd never encountered anything like that before, and it's made me wonder if there's so many things that I had written off in the past that maybe are worth being concerned about with some of the more recent things we've encountered.
I understand what you mean entirely. I think, I've always been open to new experiences and unexplainable things, but reason rules the day, right? I can investigate, I can find the truth, and I honestly don't know if I want to find out the truth right now.
And Ida sort of like looks off over over Esther's shoulder and just like remembers for a moment the empty eyes of the children who turned around and ran away, and she nods slowly. I couldn't agree more. It's dark, it's kind of musty down here. Let's get out of here. I think we've seen everything we need to see here today.
Yes, let's. And then I think as we head up the stairs, I will like reach down and grab Ida's hand.
Yeah, Ida will like lace her fingers between yours. And I think like as they're headed up the stairs, if the camera stays down below, I think you hear like faintly as they go up. So what was this about you being a bride? I heard some strange things. And that's how I see that go.
I love it. I'm going to go over to Laura. Laura, you're looking around, and there's a large floor-length mirror installed on one wall in the living room of the Sinclair's apartment. And something about the mirror catches your eye. It has a funny sheen to it. It just has like a funny sheen to it. Like it just looks slightly off. And at a certain point, Veruca calls to Giancarla, or actually no, Ambrose calls to Giancarla because Ambrose is making dinner. Ambrose calls to Giancarla if she'll come help him in the kitchen with the food. And Veruca joins them as well. And they leave you in the living room. What do you do? And you're muted, Adrian.
So are there any, let's see, I think are there any clothes or costumes or anything like that? Is there like a like some wardrobe or anything where, because what Laura is thinking, I think, because the whole point that she's there, I think, is part of her maybe taking on this role in the play now, right? So if there is any piece of clothing that might look a bit like the costume that character was wearing, that she would be playing, I think then she would kind of put that on, try it on in front of the mirror, something like that.
I don't think there's anything in the living room like that, but you might be able to. I like where you're going with this, though. I think you might find like a little diadem or something that the character wears in the third act that maybe you could like slip on.
Yeah, I think that, and so kind of standing in front of this mirror and looking like I'm kind of trying to figure out what it would look like if I take this role.
And the mirror clicks and turns. It's a door. What do you do?
I think I try to slip in there as quickly as possible.
You can, because they're in the other room. And then I assume you close the mirror behind you.
Yes.
You find yourself in a hallway, a secret hallway with blue UV lights up above. And there's a room, a door at the opposite end of the hallway. What do you do?
There are no windows or anything, I guess, right?
There are not.
Yeah. I think I think Laura will walk up to the door and see what kind of door is it. Is it sturdy or?
It's just like a really utilitarian door, like a flimsy, like particle board door with a brass knob.
Let's open it then.
And your clue is this space. That because if you look back at the mirror, it's a two-way mirror. You can look out of the mirror, and this like secret little space. That's your clue. You open the door, and you see a bank of video monitors and a person sitting in a chair in front of them, their back behind you, or their back facing you. We'll go to Ruth. Ruth, you and Jeremy have had your early evening, right before closing time, shopping trip at the boutiques in Boston. I would like for everybody to go around the table as a little paint the scene and tell me, like, how has Jeremy been spiffied up? Like, what's the glow up here?
I feel like Ruth has excellent taste and would be trying to direct him towards like a nice suit or something, but I also think that Jeremy's like a little bit campy, and so he's ended up with some kind of like purple velour situation happening. Like it's fancy, but it's campy.
That's going to go over well with the group. Trust me, that's probably the right choice.
I think along with that suit, he's attained a barely matching like cloth beret.
He's going to be the hit of the party, no doubt.
I think his fingernails have been painted black.
Yeah, that would go well with mine. I was gonna say like very dark eyeshadow and stuff.
Oh, he has guy liner, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Good. Good. And he says, so you think this is it, huh, Aunt Ruth? And I think at this point you're kind of walking up the hall to the Sinclair's apartment. He says, well, I think I'll definitely fit in with their aesthetic.
Absolutely. You look amazing. And you know what? This is going to be like the best day for your career. You know, you're going to walk in there and you're going to wow them, and their jaws are going to be on the floor and they're going to be like, how did we never notice this guy before? Give him the part. And
he says, do you really think so? I mean, I was starting to think that maybe this whole acting thing was just a waste of my time, you know? No, trust me. I saw you in the middle school production of Peter Pan that you were in. You know, I went with Esther to that. And, you know, even then I could tell that you had a passion for the theater. And, you know, I think it's what you're meant to do. You're a crook, Captain Hook. Good. Good. And he says, okay, all right, I've got this. And he kind of takes a breath, you know. And you ring the bell. Laura, you can hear the bell ringing from the inside, from where you're at, distantly. More guests are arriving. You'll notice that on one of the screens, you see the hall and you see Jeremy and Ruth on the monitor. So what do you do, Laura?
I think okay. Let me know if this is too much, but I was wondering because I chose the sibling Rick and AJ move, right?
Oh yeah, we haven't seen
And
your
I was
sibling yet.
wondering
Yeah.
whether Laura might try to call up her sister, maybe even a twin sister, to show up to this party as well, so she can stay in this space.
Oh, that's
with her
pretty
sister
good.
being present at the party.
Oh, that's pretty good. I like that a lot, actually.
So that's what I would do. Make a phone call.
Yeah, I like it. So, okay. Tell us about your sister. Name, what's her deal? Why is she so different from you? That's really important in the move.
So I think I gave her the name Tracy, if I remember correctly, in I think 2 sessions
We'll go with that.
ago. And I think so. She has worked all her life in an office for a big company here in Boston. And I think there was something with her coming to LA, I think, and that was part of what spooked Laura. But I think I think there was, I think what I said before also was that she was actually somehow in the diplomatic service as well. So it's something like she has been living this really stable life, very much respected by society, kind of, and that's I think her thing, and that's how she's different, because Laura has always been traveling. She's never stayed in one place long, in that sense, especially in her early life. So I think that's kind of from the lifestyle, and I think the other difference, of course, then because she has a very different fashion sense, which means that she's always very much dressed in like one colored suits, or and wearing pearls, and
But you're identical twins, though, otherwise.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you call Tracy while you're in the hallway, or like, how do you make this phone call?
I think while I'm in this room with the monitors and stuff. Yeah.
Well, there's somebody in the room there, presumably.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you just can't.
No, I think then I close the door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You could maybe even like go back into the apartment and make the call, and then like slip away later if you wanted.
Yeah.
Like once she gets there.
Sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That could be fun hijinks.
Yeah.
I want to know what that conversation is like. We're gonna have that conversation, but I want to cut over to Ida and Esther for a bit. Are you both angling for the cozy move here?
We can cozy for sure.
I just need someone to be doing their activity. That's all. So
I was just thinking that if we wanted to get out for a drink and also go cozy, there's lots of places where you can like do pottery and drink wine. That's like
it's nice.
The whole industry. So I bet there's one of those places in Boston.
I imagine. I like to imagine that you all had like a Groupon for it,
Yes.
You just didn't quite make it in the trip, and maybe there was an argument about, well, the Groupon's good for another 3 months. It's okay, and so on and so forth. Good. Okay, I like it. It's good. I've been to one of those things, but for painting, where like they give you wine and you like paint a little bad picture. Okay. Good. So let's have the scene. Let's keep it going. I'm enjoying this burgeoning sort of relationship here.
I do think that Ida's a little bit more interested in that bottle of wine than the pottery right now, for sure. But doing a little bit of both. Alicia, do you have a good idea for what the name of this place is? I feel like that always sets up the vibe.
Those places always have a name like that, like some corny name.
I'm so bad at names. Names are always my downfall.
Something like throwing or thrown, because that's what you do with pottery.
Yeah.
Throw it.
Something about a dizzy spinning wheel or something, some kind of spinning wheel thing going on.
Yeah. Thrown for a spin or thrown for a loop or something like that. I don't know. I'm kind of I'm fishing around.
There's a good joke in here somewhere.
I know. We'll find it eventually. But let's get the scene going.
So I think that they have it's meant to be a sort of partner or even date activity, right? Either like, you know, a friend's night out or a more romantic situation. So I think there's lots of wheel sharing. It's also a cost cuttings measure. So the two of us are sitting in front of a wheel, and like, you know, both of us have our foot on the pedal, and like adjusting the speed so our legs are there next to each other's, and I imagine like we both have, you know, our own cups for the wine that we're drinking. I don't know, let's call it a red of some unspecified nature. And I think Ida, either because of the nerves from the day or because the wine is already hitting a little bit, is having like difficulty getting the clay to like stick to the wheel. She's like trying to throw it properly and it keeps being off center, and then you keep having to restart. And she's, I think, like starting to just giggle at the impossibility of getting this clay started. How's Esther?
I think that Esther, despite Alicia's desire to angle for a ghost reference here, actually, I think that you might be struggling, but something about like the drink has like emboldened me, and despite not knowing what I'm doing, it's going perfectly. At least the first part is going perfectly. And so I'm also in on the giggling because it's so funny that you're struggling so much, and I'm just like, what am I doing? And it's like turning into something actually good.
I like then, if we want to do a little bit of a ghost moment, as you're like, you know, forming your bowl, or whatever it is, a cup maybe, then I think maybe like you either are getting a little distracted, going to grab a drink or something, and you've like, you know, adjusted your thumb and it's like thrown off the shape. And so Ida, struggling with her own, instead like opts to reach over and like, you know, help guide your hands and forming the bowl back into its required shape. And I think you're both just like leaning in close, smiling at each other. And oh, you have to work in the pallid mask in this scene somehow.
You have to work in the pallid mask.
Oh yeah, I'm dying to hear that. Yeah. I love it. We can cut away if you all need a minute for the scene still, but
yeah. What do you think, Alicia?
Yeah, let's cut away so I can think of how I'm going to bring death into this scene.
Yeah, I know. I love this. Like, yeah, it's such a good juxtaposition. It's good. Ruth, Jeremy is getting ready to ring the bell to the apartment when you hear a big thunderous laugh down the hall. Ha 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 ha! If you turn, you'll notice getting out of the elevator is a big barrel-chested man with a big, huge, bushy beard, and he sees you at the door of the Sinclairs, and he says, "Are you going to Ambrose and Veruca's party too?"
Oh yeah, I am.
He says, "I'll see you later, man." He was like laughing with the elevator operator and kind of walks up towards you, and he says, "I'm Anthony Veit." He's like, "I'm a member of the troupe. Well, yeah, Ugh, dark business with that poor Natasha, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't know the half of it. Tasha, Maxime.
Wait, what happened to Maxime?
And so I'm gonna like go into kind of like a detailed reenactment of what happened to Maxime because I want to gauge his reaction.
He seems like, of everybody you've met in the troop so far, he seems like the most affected by it. He says, "Oh, that's so horrible. He was such a nice kid. What a shame." Well, and he looks at Jeremy and he says, "Well, this could be your opportunity, right?" And Jeremy's like, "Yeah." And he says, "Well, I didn't know that this dinner was going to be more like a wake. Although I guess when you're hanging around with this bunch, everything is like a wake to some degree." And he rings the bell. And Veruca answers, and she's like, "Anthony," she's like, "Did you hear about Maxime?" And he's like, yes, I just heard." And they're, hugging it out or whatever as you both come in. And Ambrose is like, "Whoa, Ruth, come in. And Jeremy, come in. And Ambrose like looks at Jeremy, and you can tell he's very impressed with Jeremy's like state of dress and his look right now. He says, "Jeremy, don't take this the wrong way, but I think that your time at the Twilight Playhouse is starting to have an effect on you." And Jeremy says, "Yeah," he's kind of like leaning into it a little bit. What are you doing in the meantime, Ruth?
I mean, honestly, I kind of just want to poke around if there's nobody's paying attention to me anymore. So
yeah, I mean, if you wait long enough, the rest of the people who are going to be at the party come. Mainly, it's going to be. Well, actually, that's not true. The only other person who shows up is Delia Fane, who is the kind of sprightly, sort of modern asymmetrical haircut, redhead, and she'll show up. She has a bottle of champagne. She's like, "I didn't know if this is appropriate because this is not exactly a celebratory sort of affair, but I just really like the taste of champagne." And she goes and sets the bottle down. Otho is not with her. That's important. You'll also see Laura there. Laura perhaps maybe looking a little, well, with her clouded situation. Like she's seen some stuff. Why don't we just pick up with you and Laura? I think that'll be fun.
So this is actual Laura, right?
This is actual Laura. Yeah,
Okay.
Laura hasn't made her phone call to
Right.
Tracy yet. Yeah.
And we also have to remind everyone, of course, that Laura is wearing this kind of neon yellow costume. So she's quite a sight to behold. It's good that you're all here. This place gives me a kind of uneasy feeling, especially with what has happened today.
Yeah, they are a bunch of weirdos. So are you like, how's it going getting into their good graces?
It seems like they want me to actually be part of the play. I guess I can do that. I mean, I've always enjoyed pretending to be someone else. It's kind of, I'm actually quite good at it. I've only not really ever have done it on the stage. But yeah, that's, I think I really need another drink. Should we? What about you?
Oh yeah, I like
too
grabbed
long.
2 champagnes off the table, and I'm like, oh yeah, that the little girl brought these, Delia. But yeah, so have you seen Jeremy? Oh my God, doesn't he look amazing?
I haven't seen him. Did you dress him up?
Well, I gave him a few pointers, and I really am starting to think I may have missed my calling as a talent agent because look, I'm getting Jeremy in the play, I'm getting you in the play. I mean,
I see. Well, yeah, maybe late careers. It's never too late to start something new.
Absolutely.
Podcasting.
Podcasting, yeah. I've got just stuff going everywhere.
Laura, as I say, Laura, your sister's returning your call now at this point, Laura.
Give me a moment. I have to take this call.
Yeah. Let's get over to Esther and Ida before we go on break. Let's just wrap that scene up.
Okay, so I have to do the Pallid Mask and also Shadow in the Garden. I think you also have Shadow in the Garden now too, don't you?
Yeah, there's
Do.
a lot going on in the scene.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
All right, so for I think that we're a little further into the scene now, a little more into the wine, perhaps a little closer to the end. And I think that I've never been to a pottery and wine thing, but I've also been to a paint night with wine and paint. And normally there's someone who like comes around and checks on you. And so we're like further in, and this woman kind of swings by and she's like, "Oh, well, what have you made?" And I just like look up really seriously. I'm like, "It's my urn." And then she's like, "Oh, okay." It's, and I'm just like, it's important to be prepared for the end of all things. And I just go back very seriously to like making this urn. And for my Shadow in the Garden, I think at one point in time, I go to get us another bottle of wine. And the wine, the brand is Persephone.
Nice.
I think tying in with some of the so right before Esther goes to go and get the second bottle of wine, I think Ida's going to pour the last remnants of the first one. And as she's pouring and she senses there's like a little bit more left in there, she takes a look inside, and just for a minute, the like wine, the little bit of wine swirling in the bottom of the bottle looks a little bit like a snake to her, pairing with the imagery from earlier. And she she blinks and double takes, and she sees that it's just the black liquid. But for a moment there, she was convinced there was, a dark reddish black snake with glistening eyes looking back at her from inside the bottle.
I love it. Let's take a 5-minute break. I want to wrap up that cozy move real quickly before we keep going. So what conditions are being cleared here, Mavens?
Unnerved for me, I think. I would
Sounds
like to get
good.
rid of the bride of the Occluded King, but I don't think it's justified.
No, not quite yet, no. Especially since you found a bottle of wine called Persephone in the scene. Ida, are you clearing one?
Yeah, I'll probably clear someone is watching me.
Okay, sounds good. And whose activity is pottery?
That's Ida's.
Okay. Would you in this game you get a clue as well, so you get to create the clue yourself. We'll just put it as a placeholder for now in the list, but at some point give us a clue.
Let me think about that.
And where are you two headed after the pottery thing? I mean, I'm assuming this is going to take a good portion of the night. So, and you weren't specifically invited to the party. So I'm curious, like, where would you be going after this?
I feel like at this point in time, I would probably call Ruth to be like, "What up? Is Jeremy still alive? Like, what's going on?" And maybe we can finagle ourselves an invite to the party that
sounds
way.
Good. Yeah, I like that. Let's pick up with Laura then. So Laura, Tracy returns your call.
Hey,
She's like, "What's going on, Laura? I haven't heard from you in ages. And well, if you could make it kind of quick, Fred and I are in the middle of looking at paint samples. We're trying to finish that room that used to be an office, but is now, well, let's not go into it."
well, I'm in town, and I was wondering whether you might be free, basically right now. I know that's not what you you like to get advance warnings and so on, but you know how it is. That's always how it has been with me. So
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Fred and I are about to tear each other's throats out, so it's probably best if I do, in fact, leave right now. Maybe I could send you a picture of these two paint samples, and you could pick the one you like best, and
sure,
we'll go with that.
sure.
She sends you a picture of the two paint samples. They are two very, very similar colors of like eggshell and ecru. They're like super close, and she's like, you could like to where you could barely tell the difference, and she's like, so what do you think?
Definitely the first one.
The eggshell or the ecru?
No, eggshell, definitely. There's no question about it.
Okay, fine, the eggshell. Fine, Fred, it's the eggshell. We're going with the eggshell. So where do you need me to go? Are you in jail? Do I need to bring some money?
No. The only thing, do you still have this kind of bright yellow costume that you used to wear? You know,
My Halloween costume?
well, did you wear it to have? I always thought it was basically just one of your more extravagant office suits, but yes, maybe if that was it. I don't really remember. It's been so long, but yeah.
She's like,
if you could wear that, please.
Yeah, it's the year that Fred and I decided to go as Citrus for Halloween. It was
That's where I saw that before. Yes, you're right. In any case, I'm at this, you could say, costume party, artist types somewhere. I've gotten to know these people here. They're part of this avant-garde theater troupe, and they invited me to a party, and I'm feeling kind of out of my, could you just come and try to...
Wait, hold on. Is this because you need someone who looks like you and you're trying to get out of a sticky social situation? Is this going to be one of those things like in high school where we had to make out with each other's boyfriends?
Maybe.
Don't worry about it, Fred. It's none of your business.
Come on, Tracy. It's an adventure. We haven't had an adventure in a long time, and who knows how many we will still have. So what do you say?
Okay, yeah, just text me the address and
I will.
I'll Uber over. No
It's
problem.
gonna be fun, I think.
She comes in her. She will be on her way. So let's have the phone call with Ruth and Esther. Do we need to role play that, or do we want to just hand wave it? What do we think?
I mean, I'm okay to hand wave it, but we can also role play it if people think that's interesting. I'm fine either way.
Yeah, same.
Okay, so let's just say you get the address to the party, Esther, if you two want to come. So Ruth just invited you. We'll say.
I think Ruth has had about 3 or 4 glasses of champagne by
Right,
this point.
exactly,
So.
yeah. She's like, come on now.
We're all drunk. It's a very loud conversation. Yeah, so I guess I would obviously relay the information to Ida and ask Ida if she wants to go to the party and join Ruth, who I think is blitzed, by the way. Not me, though. I'm fine.
Well, we are out of wine here, so a party sounds great. I'm ready to forget today, except for all the things we need to remember for the mystery. But we can forget tonight.
Which are still only a few things.
I also love the idea that we're out of wine. Like, we literally drank this place dry. Oh, that just warms my heart. All right, we'll go to the party.
To the party. So let's be back at the party before they arrive. So, Ruth, what are you doing right now?
So I think initially I was showing everyone my snake in a jar, but I think I've kind of like shown it to everyone. And so
this is the kind of party where that will go over okay. So,
yeah, I think I got a real favorable reaction from the first person and just decided to keep it going. But then I think I'm gonna just go start like exploring the bedrooms of the Sinclair, like the Sinclair's bedroom, and just opening drawers and seeing what I can find.
I like it. Let's do the meddling move with reason. See if you have any relevant conditions.
Reason.
You have shaken, but I think that's probably not relevant right now since you have so much champagne in you.
Right. All right. Sounds good. So that is an 8.
Okay. We'll come back to that in a moment. Laura, while you're waiting on Tracy to show up, what are you doing? And just so that everybody knows, at the party, if you look at the mystery sheet and the suspects, everyone is there except for Gregor and Otho, and obviously Maxime, because Maxime's dead.
I think Laura's gonna go and maybe talk to Belladonna.
You might be getting her role that she wanted, right? The role she used to be, right? Belladonna's there. I imagine her as a sort of Helena Bonham Carter in every Tim Burton movie kind of look. She says, "Oh, the usurper, the would-be presumed heir to the throne. How can I help you?"
Oh, I just I'm really sorry about how that went. I just was trying to help, and I actually didn't even, I wasn't looking to take your place or anything. It's it just sort of you know how these things go sometimes. It's maybe, I guess maybe it should be you in the end playing. I'm really unsure about this whole thing. What do you think?
Well, of course it should be me, but Ambrose seems to think that I have aged out of the role, which is absurd because, well, that's what makeup and costumes are for, right? Yes, I probably should take on the role of the journeywoman, resume the role of the journeywoman. I should have always been
You
the
played it
journeywoman.
before?
Yes, before Natasha, the young ingenue, showed up. She had a Briddy Award. Ooh.
So, yeah, I can
terrible
understand.
Children's television show. She won the award when she was 12 years old. Surely there's a statute of limitations on this sort of thing.
One would think. Well, so you basically you've played the role before, and don't you feel kind of spooked to take on a role of someone who was just murdered?
Do the meddling move at this point with presence. Let's see how that goes. And because it's Belladonna Vite, I'm going to give you advantage with your conditions.
Okay. Let's see. It's a new dice today, so let's see what they can do. Not much, apparently. That's a 6.
We'll come back to that. Esther and Ida, you arrive at the party. Someone lets you in. You see Laura chatting with Belladonna and the other guests. You don't see Ruth anywhere. You do see Jeremy, though. Jeremy says, Aunt Esther, what do you think?
Woo!
He's like,
So Esther's the woo girl when she's drunk.
he's like, Aunt Esther, this crowd is not really the woo-woo type of crowd. Probably best to keep the energy level more somber. I mean, they did have a couple of deaths today, or in the last 24 hours. So, you know, but I'm glad you're excited for my new look.
Death is just the continuation of life in a new form, Jeremy. Have some wine.
Yes. Okay. And maybe you should have a cup of coffee at this point, Aunt Esther.
Fine.
We're fine.
Have you met Ida?
Yes, I have. I've known her throughout most of my childhood.
Oh.
Well, since you two are ready to get the party started, come on in, I guess, and grab a glass of champagne.
I think Ida like takes off her bag when she enters, and because she's a little bit drunk at this point, sees the skeleton standing there and like hands the skeleton her bag before continuing on.
It's good. Such a camp TV thing. I love it. So Ruth, you're poking around. What was your die result?
It was an 8.
8. The thing that sticks out to you is a beautiful black lacquered box on their nightstand. And about yay big. And you open the box, and inside the box, there is a black egg, like a black chicken egg. And I think you touch the black chicken egg, and it has a very strange effect on you. I'm going to give you a condition, which is going to be, we're just going to call it the black egg. How does it make you feel?
So I think it makes me feel like, I think it gives me a sense of, fills me with like a sense of importance.
Good. And inside the box, there is on the lid, on the interior lid, there's a Polaroid picture of John Carla Thune has been taped on the inside where the egg is. This is your clue. A black egg, and it's sort of sympathetic magic connected to John Carla in some way. What do you do now at this point?
So I'm like taking a bunch of pictures of everything with my camera, but then I'll go back out and try to see if Esther and Ida have arrived.
They have.
And just generally mingle, hold court. Now that I'm
very good. Under the influence of the black egg.
Exactly.
Yeah, good. I love it. They're almost 3 sheets to the wind at this point, so they may not be the most productive audience, but do what you will, I suppose. Laura, how are you going to make sure that Tracy gets into the party and you escaping the party? What's this going to look like?
I wonder if it might be related to a wild or dangerous physical feat. wild or daring physical feat.
Maybe. If I call for a die roll, it can't be.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder. So I guess the living room now is actually also kind of full with people, right? So it won't be as easy to slip through that mirror again. So.
But there will be a ring at the doorbell.
Yeah. I think Laura is going to try to sneak, like when the door rings, I think she's going to sneak to the back of the apartment somewhere.
Like the balcony.
Yeah. Is there a balcony?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah. I think that would be good. Out there somewhere.
Yeah, I like it. So, and then from the balcony, are you going to try to like get into the secret space somehow, or what are you going to try to do then? You're muted, Adrian.
In the passage, there were no windows, but I did open the door to the room with the monitors and so on. Was there a window or something that I could see there?
We can say there is. Sure. Yeah, I like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I'll try. Maybe it's kind of to the side of the balcony or whatever. So I'm going to try to see if I can get in there from there.
Okay, I like it. So Tracy is in the party. Do you want to roleplay Tracy, or do you want me to roleplay Tracy? You were muted, but it sounded like you said you wanted me to.
You can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
You can do it.
Tracy's in the party, and she's wearing this. It looks like a lemon, like one of those foam like ponchos, but like poncho costumes, you know. And she says, "Oh, Ruth, Ida, Esther, my friends from Brindlewood Bay, isn't this party great? It's not at all filled with a bunch of social malcontents and weirdos."
Laura, what are you wearing? That is not how you're going to get this part. This is not what we agreed to, Laura.
Right. Yeah. I just was feeling inspired by citrus, the concept of it. You know, you can do so much with a lemon and a lime.
Look around you. Read the room, Laura. This is not a
Grapefruit's
citrus party.
quite delicious.
Maybe we can go find you something. Like I was poking around before in Veruca's closet, and there's probably something in there you can wear. So let's go.
She's like, oh, okay, sure. And she goes off. Esther and Ida, what are you two doing right now?
Well, she left, so that's irrelevant. I was gonna say I wondered if Bo could tell that it wasn't Laura.
Bo might be acting funny. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I feel like Esther is too drunk to notice anything like amiss. I'm gonna say to Ida, probably a little too loudly, we should look for like clues for the mystery, because like definitely these people are so suspicious, don't you think?
Oh, Esther, and she like taps her on the shoulder. You're just the smartest cookie sometimes, I swear. Let me get right to that first. And she like grabs another glass of wine. And I think she's gotten a little unsteady at this point and like spills it on herself a little bit. I have an idea brewing to maybe do a Fox Mulder move here in a moment.
Yeah, we haven't seen that in a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think she'll like after spilling that. Oh, you start the sleuthing without me. I'm gonna go clean up. And she goes over into like a guest bath that's there off the hallway, and she steps inside and turns on the light, and like I'm imagining there's like maybe 3 or 5 bulbs above the mirror, and only like 1 or 2 of them work, and they're both like black lights because this is the sort of people who do that. And so it's very dimly lit in here, and she like goes to the sink to wash her hands, and then like damp her shirt and try to spot out the stain. And as she looks up, she sees reflected in the mirror a dark figure standing behind her in the bath, who she's like the camera sees her face, and she's like, oh, and knowingly has this conversation.
I love it. Let's be reminded of the move here. You've already described the scene. How many void clues do we have in this mystery right now?
I think 2, unless we've missed one.
1, 2. Yeah, there are 2. So basically, on your next roll, you'll get a +2. So, which is very powerful. Good. I love it. Also, Esther, what are you doing while Ida's in the bathroom doing whatever Ida's doing?
Well, Ida might think that I'm a smart cookie, but I think she's a super smart cookie. So I'm going to do what she says, and I'm going to sleuth.
Good. I love it. Drunken sleuthing. It's best kind.
Definitely. And I assume this is going to give me disadvantage, which is fine. But I'm like super obvious about it. And I'm doing like walk through
like, do you pull out your magnifying glass?
Yes.
Like, good. Tiptoe. Good. I love it. I do feel like we should probably do a drunken. We'll say drunk condition. And it's going to be put you at disadvantage for sure. Roll with reason otherwise.
Oh dear.
Or no, vitality. Roll with vitality.
Doesn't matter.
What you get?
That's 3.
Hold
That's
that thought.
3.
Okay. So let's put everybody in space and time. Ruth, you are in the closet with Tracy.
Yeah.
And Ida, you're chatting with your contact. Esther has a missed roll, which we have to cope with. And Laura, you're on the balcony. Laura, that window, which is blacked out, which is how you are able to confirm it's the right window. That window, which is on the other side of the wraparound balcony, it's going to be a bit of a feat to get to it because the balcony is not like the window's next to the balcony. You'll have to do some dangerous maneuvers here. I think it's going to be the night move because it is later. And what are you scared is going to happen if you fail?
I think falling is a good option.
Yes, it's worse than just falling. You will fall and you will be splattered on the ground. But if you want to do your Colt Sievers, this is the time.
Yes, I think that's the time to take that.
So also Gold Crown Mysteries would probably work well too, because I'm sure that Amanda Delacourt has done some stunts like this before. But in any case, if you're doing Colt Sievers, that just makes it a 12 plus, right? Is that the deal? And you get a bonus for the 12 plus. And so I'm going to say that the bonus is basically whoever's in that room is not hostile. They'll even help you get in. But give us the scene. What does it look like?
So Laura is happy that she was able to kind of get away from everyone when the doorbell rang. I think she looked out of went out to the balcony and she saw maybe Tracy down there. And so, yeah, okay, that's the right moment. Went around. And then I think she has to kind of climb up on the railing of the balcony to then reach this window. And I think I think she might be able to push it open and then somehow pull herself inside. But still, it's still a really difficult thing to do. So even though she was successful and did not fall down, I think she kind of tumbles into the room.
Good. Inside the room, sitting in the chair, is Otho Fane. Otho is the larger gentleman with the beautiful black suit and fancy cravat. And he sees you and says, well, 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 well. I can't say it's very often that strange women tumble into my window, but here you are. He helps you up.
I'm sorry, is this not I was trying to get away from all the drunken excitement in there,
At first
quiet.
I thought you might be a cat burglar, but of course that suit isn't exactly the right color for cat burgling, is it?
No. It is for stagecraft though, and
Oh yes.
What is it that you're doing here?
You were at the bar.
Yes.
You're angling for the role of
I was hoping to
woman.
speak to you alone. That's why I took this kind of unusual way of getting.
And yet, here you are in Veruca and Ambrose's closet, and he presses a button, and the little video monitor pops up to show Tracy and Ruth in the closet going through clothes. How do we explain this strange set of circumstances?
Stage magic.
Oh, you are good then. Very, very good. A real queen of the theater. Well, this
you always have to have an
my...
extra trick up your sleeve in this
Yes,
business.
You definitely do. And he sort of like gestures grandly at his at his like wall of video monitors, right? He says, I happen to own this building. The Sinclairs don't pay a penny in rent, and they don't know about this, so shh.
Well, the secret is definitely safe with me, but what is it that you're doing here?
I consider myself an observer of the human condition. And it's so much easier when you can observe unobserved. He says, look,
I guess.
He clicks some more buttons on his keyboard and he pops up like stuff from the theater too. There's like the dressing room and the prop room and all the various places.
This is a big operation that you have going here.
Well, it's just a few remote cameras. It's not that complicated.
So what have you found out in your studies so far?
Oh, wouldn't you like to know? Wouldn't you like to know? Convince me that I should share my secrets with you.
Well, isn't it? I mean, that's what we do as theater performers, right? We study the way human behavior, all the little details to then reproduce it on stage. So if there's anything you found out then I'm really interested in all of that.
Sure. Make a meddling move with presence. See if you can get him on side.
That's another 5. So I have still the 6 minus from before with Giancarlo.
That's right. You've got a couple of you've got
the second one. So
you've got some stuff stacked up. I shall spend them momentarily. Don't worry. Good. Esther has a miss too, right? Mm-hmm. So let's go to Ruth and Tracy. So how's this going, Ruth?
So yeah, I think Ruth is has all thoughts of being stealthy about this are gone. She's just throwing clothes off. She's looking at it, no, that's no good. Looking at the next one, that's no good. And then just throwing stuff onto
I don't remember you being a stylist or having any interest at all in fashion, Ruth. Aren't you into ducks or something?
Well, look, it's just that I put a lot of thought and effort into this, and I've got things in motion. All of this is happening because of the work, the blood, sweat, and tears that I've put into it. And now you're going to show up looking like an orange?
It's a lemon, but I don't want you to think I don't appreciate the work you're doing. I don't quite understand what that is yet. But sure. There's a lot of black here. Seems like that's our choice in terms of color palette.
Well, it runs the gamut from dark gray to black to dark blue. There's a rich selection to choose from.
I think while you're in there, she'll say, "Oh, Ruth, look at that." And she's looking out the closet directly across to the bedroom window. She says, "I swear the moon was high in the sky tonight. It was a bright full moon, and now I don't see it at all. It's pitch black out there."
Yes, clouds are a thing, Laura. Could you focus?
No, Ruth. And she walks out of the closet, goes over. She says, "There's no moon in the sky, Ruth. There are no stars."
Again, failing to see how this is relevant to the plan.
Well, it's just unusual, don't you think, that the night sky is suddenly just an inky black void?
Sure, that's unusual. It's also unusual when, you have a plan in place with one of your friends and then she shows up dressed like a lemon.
And she goes and she's going out to the balcony from the bedroom. She's like, "I want to get a closer look at this."
Oh, you know what? Fine. I'll find something for you to wear. And I'm just going to go maybe do some meddling in the closet.
Meanwhile, back at the party, Esther, everyone is kind of a little agitated because they're all noticing the same thing outside, that the moon is no longer in the sky. And there's a sudden hubbub among everybody at the party. And Jeremy says, "Aunt Esther, what's going on? They all seem really agitated about something."
Jeremy, I do not think that these people know how to party.
It's like, "Oh, well, they seem nice enough."
I'm pretty sure they keep murdering each other.
Yeah, probably. But
And
it's.
The moon's just probably behind some clouds or something. They're very dramatic. You should find some new friends, Jeremy. You're a good boy, Jeremy.
And I think Ida, your contact will make reference to this while you're in the bathroom, making you aware of the night sky having gone inky black.
Yeah, I think that there is a small window that like they direct my attention to, and then when I look back, like our conversation's over and they've gone somewhere, the way that shadowy figures are wont to do. And I think that like seals the deal for Ida. And she marches over to the door and like practically kicks it open back into the main room where everyone's at. And she says, "All right, everybody, there's no better time. Who wants to talk to the dead?"
Laura, while you are talking to Otho, something catches his eye on one of the monitors. He says, "What in the world?" And he does that TV movie thing, or that movie thing where they like he enhances the video, you know, tick, 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 tick. Black dog with the red eyes is in the hallway outside the apartment. It says, "That is a most unnerving canine, wouldn't you say?"
Yes, I think she looks around because she's kind of in this enclosed space, right, with no real way out. She's like, I suddenly I don't feel so good. And
Are you
she's
going to
trying
be
keep
sick,
an
dear?
eye. No, she's trying to keep an eye on the monitor, like as long as she can see that it's out there, out of the apartment, she's at least partly safe.
It's not in the hallway anymore. She's
Where
like,
did it go? Can you find it on any of your other cameras?
well, yes, I suppose. He's click, 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 click. He's like, "Oh, there it is. It's mingling with the guests."
Well, I think I might stay in here for a bit if that's okay with you. I really don't like dogs, especially black ones.
I want you to take the condition frightened. I'm curious, Ida. So Ida, you're ready to do the seance, which I think is a great idea. It's perfect for that. Ruth, you will eventually find the perfect ensemble for Tracy / Laura. Laura comes back in, or Tracy comes back in, and she says, "I think this is the end."
I'm sorry, what now?
It's the end. It's here.
No, it's not the end. Just put this on and we'll be fine.
And she just like mindlessly does what you say. She's putting all the stuff on. And she says, I don't know why I came here. It was a terrible idea.
It was a good idea, and we're going to do it.
No, it's a very bad idea. I should probably go. I need to go. I need to go be with Fred.
Your brother-in-law?
No, my husband. I'm sorry, I have to go. And she's getting ready to leave the party.
I'm going to text Laura.
Very good. Very good. This seance scene is pretty good. I'm loving this idea. Esther, are you down with the seance?
Yeah, I'm down with whatever Ida says. And right now, especially.
Well, I think we give a little bit of cover here for fake Laura to make her get away if she's leaving the party. Because
they're all going to be very focused on the stars anyway,
yeah,
or the lack thereof. Yeah.
True. I think after Ida kicks open the door and makes her declaration, I think she just goes over to the nearby like largest table, and like with the same level of confidence that she had, like trying to take control of things at Snowdrop House and making sure everybody stayed for that. She just like starts clearing the table and like bringing over candles, because I'm sure this place has candles, and like setting them up on the table in like a rough circle. And she's like sort of halfway explaining as she's doing things. Oh, we need to put the candles here so that we can properly connect with the spirits. And like she just starts putting stuff together for it.
Yeah, and I think Belladonna and Veruca will come in, and Ambrose too. They'll see what you're doing, and they'll say, yes, now is the time. Now is the time to make contact with the other side. The veil is thinned. It may never be thinner. We have to find out what our next step is, what we have to do next.
Well, before we can do anything, someone needs to clear off the rest of these dishes.
Indeed. No one sees a black dog, by the way. That's something only Laura sees on the camera, but Otho sees it as well, which is interesting. Ruth, what do you do after Tracy leaves? Well, you texted Laura, so what did you text Laura?
I think I've written her like a long text about like, how dare you bring an understudy in during the most crucial part of my plans and all of this, and just ranting and like asking where she is and all of that. Like I'm all egged out.
Laura, do you respond to the text?
I think at the moment not. I think I basically maybe are you writing this all in one message, or is it kind of this, where you kind of send one part of the sentence and then the next and it rings and rings again? Or
yeah, it's definitely like just a series of short messages over and over and over.
So I think that Laura she's looking at the monitors and trying to see, and whenever the black dog gets kind of out of the frame, she kind of frantically tries to see whether she can see it on any of the other cameras. And so in her pocket, I think the phone dings and dings and dings. She just doesn't react to it.
Otho says, seems like someone's trying to get your attention. You're a very popular lady.
What? Oh, yes.
Is it just me, or does that dog seem to be looking directly into the camera every time we see him?
Yes, maybe. I've actually, I think I've seen this dog before, and it really freaked me out the last time. I don't know. Well, I let me see what, and she kind of looks at she tries to glance at the phone, but always with one eye, kind of seeing if she can spot the dog.
Yeah, the dog seems to be like looking at you, like making eye contact with you every time you look at it. Oh, it looks like they're getting ready to do some sort of seance.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as this dog's out there, I definitely cannot go out there again. Do you mind if I stay back here for a while?
Certainly. I don't intend to reveal myself to anyone tonight. So we can be partners in deception.
That sounds better than going out there and confronting this dog again. I'm gonna Tell my friend that I went home, so they don't worry about me.
Says,
I think that's what she writes back.
yeah, says, the good news is we'll be able to hear everything they say because I have Delia wired up.
Okay. She's like this. I think what she'll try to do actually is, while she is, I mean, she is very frightened and she's scared, but this also is extremely weird. So I think what she'll try to do while texting back, she'll also try to take a picture of this whole monitor setup without him noticing.
I love it. That's fine. A question about this seance. Are we trying to do a different move here, or is this just a variation on the Ouija board thing?
What a good question. I think
you make a case for both, so whatever you want.
yeah, I definitely see it being an extension of the Ouija board, but I guess would there be a different set of consequences that would be interesting that could be achieved through a seance? Would be
Let's read the move again. On a 10 plus, the spirit. No, I think it would be the same because it's still just contacting a spirit, right? So I think that makes the most sense.
Okay.
I am putting this roll at disadvantage no matter what because of the influence of the black dog, which is there even though you can't see it. And we're going to do the scene, but when we get back from break. So let's take 5. So I think I just want to check in with what everybody's doing, like during the seance, like what will they be doing. So it sounds like Ida, you're like conducting the seance, or you're at least there in charge of it. Esther, are you at the table at the seance as well?
Yes, I am right beside Ida.
Okay. And Ruth, are you going to join the seance, or are you going to be doing something else? This might be a great opportunity to do something else, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think I am going to do anything on the seance. Like, if anybody else is not involved, maybe I'll see who else I can find and like corner and start, investigating.
Yeah, if you want to name a side character or a suspect that you'd like to interact with, I can just have them not be at the seance. It's fine. Except Delia will be at the seance because Delia is Otha's spy. So
how about Giancarla?
Okay, yeah. Oh, that's good. Giancarla has kind of a lighter nature sort of hippy dippy vibe. So I think that makes sense that she may not want to do that. Okay, good. And she's the wife of Gregor, who's back at the theater ostensibly.
Right, yeah.
Good, I like that. I want to have that scene first, in fact. But Laura, just real quick, what are you going to be doing? Just watching the seance or anything else? Oh, you're muted.
I think Laura is still really not taking her eyes off the dog whenever it appears somewhere on the camera, and really, and the only thing that she tried to do is really kind of take this photograph of this whole weird setup that is going on here.
Good. I want to pick up with Giancarla and Ruth then. So Giancarla will be, she'll be sitting on the couch while everybody else is over there, and she'll say, so you're from Brindlewood Bay, right?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, I thought I overheard that. I actually know it really well. My brother-in-law lives there. Do you know him? His name is Gregory Thune. He's a banker, very uptight.
No, I don't know that I know him.
Or maybe his name's, what is his name? Is it actually, it may not be Gregory. It's Gordon, sorry. He says, you don't know Gordon? Oh, well, he manages the bank, and well, let's just say that he disapproves of these theater types that Gregor and I hang out with. I hope you're not as stuck up as he is. Please tell me you're not.
Honey, no one who has drank as much champagne as I have tonight could be as stuck up as that.
Well, and you got started with absinthe at the bar too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, so what do you think? How do you feel about all of this. You do like a podcast or something?
I do, yeah. Do you mind if I record this conversation?
Oh, no, not at all. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So, I feel like your vibe is a little different than, the rest of the group. And I was wondering, what your story was and how you sort of came to be involved here.
Oh, well, my story is that this is really more Gregor's thing than mine. But I'm happy to, play, whatever little parts they need me to do. Currently, I'm in the chorus, which is easy enough. And I like the Sinclairs. I like the Fanes. They're all very nice people, if a little unusual.
So yeah, where is Gregor though? I haven't seen him around tonight.
She's like, I'm a little bit like the cousin Marilyn in the Munsters.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar.
Well, she's the one that's not a monster, but she still lives with them, and she's the normal one. That's me.
I see. Anthony seemed pretty normal too.
Oh, Anthony is, yeah. He's gregarious, I think. Yeah, he's very gregarious.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think about Natasha? Everybody has a theory, right? Surely you do too.
Make the meddling move with presence here.
Okay. That is an 8.
Let me take a look at the clues. She says, well, there have been a lot of strange occurrences happening around the production, on set and behind the scenes, to be sure. For example, we found just 2 weeks ago, we found one of the costumes was it was lined with arsenic.
Lined with arsenic?
Yes, apparently it's a sort of way that back in Elizabethan times they would assassinate kings and queens.
So how did you even discover this?
Well, I think that's a good question. Now that you mention it, I don't know who first noticed it, but it was certainly very unusual, don't you think?
That sounds like, and she leans dramatically closer to the recorder, a clue.
It's like, maybe. The costume was a chorus member's costume, to be clear. I shall note that for you. And I owe you a complication as well.
Yeah.
She says, oh, I'm getting a message from my husband. He needs someone to come pick him up from the theater. You don't seem like you're in any state to drive. I don't drive myself, but maybe we could get a car and go together to get him.
Well, sure. I wouldn't send you alone into the nights of Boston.
Well, especially when everybody in the troupe is dropping like flies, right?
Indeed.
Good. And she takes your arm and she'll take you out of the apartment. So Ida, set the scene for us. What's going on here?
So I think that they had a longer rectangular table. She set up a ring of candles in the middle, and Ida's sitting at one head of the table. And she's arrayed all the other guests sitting around the table. They're the candles. I think she's like taken, there's like a table, like a little thing of a shaker of salt. I like just because of the vibe of these people, it's probably a little skull shaker of salt. And she popped the top off and like laid salt lines and like a pentagram with the candles. And as she settles into her seat and everybody else is settled into theirs, she says, does anyone have anything of importance or connection to the deceased, to who we wish to speak with this evening?
And I think at this point, I think Veruca will say, to be clear, we are trying to speak to Natasha, correct?
Well, I don't think that there's much question about the other death from the last 24 hours.
Oh, I just thought perhaps we were going to try to just sort of generally speak to the dead. I don't think we really need to get Natasha involved in this, right? The poor dear, she's probably doing her best wandering about in limbo, in the astral plane, as she tries to find her way to wherever we go at the end.
Well, these sorts of events are, from, and she like sort of winces, from my experience, a little bit hit or miss. So I say if we shoot for Natasha, we'll land among the dead.
Oh, all right, very good. And Ambrose says, well, if one of us here did it, I don't think that, well, if Natasha names one of us as her killer, I'm not sure that testimony from a ghost is the sort of thing that would hold up in court.
I think Ida's like probably drunk enough at this point that she's like, well, then we'll just have to bring the ghost to testify.
Very well. And so, yeah, Ambrose says, well, I'll tell you something about the dead. And here he kind of gets a little, like he has something important to say. And then he says, no, I better not. Esther, he was about to say something really important. He's backing off now. What do you do?
I look him like straight in the eyes, real intense like, and I just say, you should really tell us about what you know about the dead.
Nice. I love it. Do the meddling move with presence. Yeah, with presence.
Eight.
He says, all right, fine. Suppose there's no real harm in it anymore. It was whispered about, but never confirmed. But Natasha was my daughter. But not with Veruca.
Respect, dude.
That's your clue. And I think the complication is this upsets Veruca. And Veruca gets up and Ambrose goes off after her. And so they're no longer there at the table. And Delia leans in and says, this is all so exciting, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely, Delia. And it's only going to get more exciting from here, hopefully, if I did this right.
I don't know how that's even possible.
Well, admittedly, I understand your enthusiasm given the darkness of the sky, but for now, everybody just hold hands and let's summon the dead. Nothing can go wrong, right?
Indeed.
As Ida places her hand in mine, I grip it like with great force, and my hands are icy cold, and I'm just white as a sheet. And I look at you, Ida, and I just lean in and I whisper, "This is it. This is when you die. This is what the Occluded King whispered to me."
Saying the Occluded King out loud is not going to go unremarked upon at the table. Belladonna especially will sort of give you a look like there's more to you than she originally thought. If Veruca and Ambrose had been there, it would have been a much bigger deal. But per the move, I think that basically if Ida goes through with the roll, you both mark XP, right? But the 6- condition is replaced with Ida being killed. So, and I also gave you a void clue. The sky at night, devoid of stars and moon, was a void clue. So you're actually at +3 on this roll, Ida, but it's a disadvantage. Okay. So, are you pressing forward though?
Oh yeah, I want to go through with this.
Okay. So both of you can take an XP, and let's get those dice on the table.
All right, I've got 3 of them right here. And so this is rolling with sensitivity, yes?
Yes.
So I have a bonus of +3 thanks to Fox Mulder, and I have a +2 to sensitivity.
Okay, so you can't actually get the 6.
Yes, which is a great relief.
Power move.
That's not too bad either way, though. My lowest are a 3 and a 4. My highest was a 5. So 3 and 4 is 7 plus 5. That 12. Is 12.
Another void clue as well.
Better
good.
Time.
I love it. So begin the seance. What does it look like? Kind of narrate things for us.
Yeah. So Ida has everyone join hands, and as Esther grips her hand tightly and says, "This is where you die." I think Ida pauses for a moment and thinks back on the various sort of traumatic things that have happened in more occult territory the last few times. And I think in those other occasions, she was really shaken by those experiences. But I think her brow furrows and she knots her eyes together and she says, "Not tonight." And she says, "Now everyone close your eyes and think about the deceased. And I want you to visualize." And she goes off sort of guiding people through visualizing the night where they last saw her, and maybe even recounts a little bit of that final scene of the play, just to sort of remind everyone, bring everyone into that moment. And I think it's already a fairly dark room given that the sky has sort of gone black outside, but even the candle flames die down a bit, and they start producing more smoke maybe than pure fire. And the room becomes a little bit hazy as they bring forth something. I leave that more up to your discretion, but
thank you. It's good though. Thank you. I'm going to start with the void clue first. You all at the table are not aware of it. Only Laura is. Laura, Otho says, "Oh dear. Your little friend seems to have found something. Something's got his attention. It's the first time he's looked away from the camera, in fact." And if you look, the black dog is in a little side room, some kind of guest room maybe or something. And it's trying to open up this small cabinet in the room, but it's a dog, so it can't, but it's trying. It clearly wants to get inside. Otho says, "I wonder what he's found in there. A stack of sausages and bacon, perhaps."
I would be surprised if that is all that this dog is looking for. What is this room?
Oh, it's just a little guest room. Sometimes Veruca and Ambrose's parties get a little carried away, and certainly you might need a place to crash for the night. But I don't know, can't imagine what they'd be keeping in that cabinet. I remember it always being quite empty.
Something must be in there.
Well, maybe one of us should go take a look. And by one of us, I mean you.
Not as long as this dog is there.
Well,
Can we not do something about it?
About the dog?
Yes. Can you not chase it away or something with your...
Oh, look. He's looking at us again.
Laura's kind of looking away.
I think he wants us to go there. He has a certain come hither look in his glowing red eyes.
I think I'm going to stay right here, but maybe I'll try to see if one of my friends wants to go.
Oh, no, pish posh, that's ridiculous. Your friends are quite busy with seance, and I don't even know where that, she does the radio or something. I don't know where she went at all. I think you should go. Here. And he takes out the most precious, tiny little handgun you've ever seen and gives it to you. He says, I don't think you'll need to use it, but well, you never know when it comes to satanic monstrosities, do you?
Don't make jokes like this. This dog is really making me feel very, very on edge. Is there another way out of here?
Oh, yes, of course. And he just goes over and he clicks a button, and a door opens up to another hall. It says, that leads directly to the guest room.
She looks at him and then she takes a deep breath and goes in there.
Meanwhile, back at the seance, actually, let's go to Ruth for a minute. Ruth and Giancarlo picking up Gregor. She says, I have to warn you, my husband he's really changed since they've started working on this production. He's really slipped into the role of the Occluded King.
Like a real Daniel Day-Lewis kind of character, huh?
Just like that, yeah, just like that. Or like a Jared Leto, So, if he sort of says things that are a little cryptic or unusual, just know that that's him, exploring his method.
Oh, trust me, I understand.
Good. Well, let's go in then. And she, the car drops you off at the Twilight Playhouse, and you're able to go in through the sort of production entrance in the back.
So I think as in the car on the way over, I think I could feel the influence of the egg coming and going.
Yeah,
every time it went down, I think I sent very apologetic texts to Laura, and then it would come back and I'd be like, but you still screwed everything up. And so so I think I'm just very back and forth in my text to Laura still, and still just blowing up her phone.
It's good. I like it. Oh, the black egg. So you go in and she's like, Gregor, are you here? And she's kind of calling out. Not having any luck finding him though. What do you do?
So wait, where are we now? We're in the theater?
You're in the theater, yeah, in the back.
Okay. I'll just kind of wander around and call out his name and see what I can find.
Yeah, do the meddling move with reason.
That's probably a 5. Yeah, that's 5.
there is a tall, shadowy figure when you go around the corner. And they begin approaching, walking very purposefully and steadily, like Jason Voorhees, just that like steady walk, covering a lot of ground, even though it's just a walking pace. You don't see Giancarlo anywhere. What do you do?
So I'll just call out like, Gregor? Giancarlo, I think Gregor's here.
There's no response. There's just heavy breathing.
I don't want to interrupt your process, but Giancarlo and I came to pick you up. You're due back at the party.
The person gets within arm's reach of you, actually a little further away from arm's reach, but still manages to reach and grab you. And they pull you into the shadows. And they are putting their arms around your head as if to snap your neck. What do you do?
Oh dear. I think I'm going to, I'll try to get away from that probably. This seems like a bad situation to be in. I'm gonna open my jar with a viper in it and just toss it on him.
Very good. What are you afraid of happening right now?
I'm afraid that, I'm afraid that he'll just pull me back into the darkness. And obviously he's going to kill me.
It's worse than that. He's going to kill Giancarlo as well.
Okay.
But go ahead and make the night move with, I think it's composure, actually. But you can take an advantage if you mark the viper.
Will do. All right. So that is a 9. Yep, 9.
We'll come back to that. So, seance. Let's read the move to make sure we're getting everything right. On a hit, you make contact with the spirit and it answers a single question for you. Okay, great. It'll be in the form of a clue. On a 10 plus, they don't ask for anything in return. We like that. So, Ida and Esther, how do you know the spirit is present? How does the room change?
I think that there's music that swells in the scene where she dies in the play, and so I think that music just like is there playing.
What question do you ask?
Alicia, what do you think?
Well, we don't know who it is yet, right?
Yeah.
We only get one question. So.
I mean, the music kind of implies that it's Natasha, right? I mean, maybe, that's what it seems to me, but I don't know. But I don't know. You ask whatever you want, I suppose.
We could keep it like sort of vague and ask what message she has for us.
I like that. So yeah, everyone's hands are gathered together, and the music is playing, is swelling, and Ida asks the question, what, Natasha, if you are among us now, what do you have to say to us after what has transpired?
There is a little hatch above the table, like an entrance to either like a little storage loft or something, or maybe like just a upper interior space of the apartment building. But the hatch falls open and a pile of human bones rattles down onto the table. like a rain stick. Laura, that's your clue. Laura, you're inside the guest room. The dog is sitting like it's waiting on you. Its head cocked to the side. And then it looks at the wardrobe, trying to guide you over to it. What do you do?
I think Laura holds out this gun kind of awkwardly and then walks like sideways, never taking her eyes off the dog, over to that cabinet and tries to somehow fiddle with it behind her back, like open it or something, while always looking at the dog and, somehow feeling a bit ridiculous, but still with this, with this gun.
You open it up, no problem. It's just like a little latch and it pops open. And inside, sitting in the bottom of the wardrobe, there's nothing else in it. There is a tall, twisty driftwood crown soaked with blood, which is dripping fresh off of it. And I think with these 3 little cliffhangery moments, we shall end the session right there. With Ruth being attacked, Esther and Ida having some skeletons in the closet and other things in the closet that Laura has just found. But that's a void clue though, so I'll note that on the void clues for you. A driftwood crown soaked with blood. And we have a, sorry. And we have a regular clue as well, which is skeletons.
Also, we have that clue about the love child.
That's right.
Also, now that it won't interrupt the scene anymore, I have an idea for the clue that Ida stumbled upon while they were getting drunk together and making pottery. Which I think was just that, and this sort of ties in with the CCTV system we've seen, which is I think she saw that there was a camera there, like pointed at the stage. It was like hidden amongst some ropes and stuff, but it was there pointed at the stage. At least it was normally. I think the cover of it had been like placed over the lens. So like there is a camera there, but it couldn't have seen anything.
So the camera was in the pottery place?
No. So I think she remembers having like she remembers the detail that the lens was covered. Like she noted the camera when she was there, but like while they were drinking and stuff, and they were like chatting about what they discovered, because she was going to share with Esther what she'd seen. I think she realized that there was a camera there, but the strangest thing, the lens cap was still on it.
Good, I like it. Good. So you're up to 9 clues, and also 9 void clues, but because of the Fox Mulder move, that meets the next threshold on the mystery. So big things are going to happen pretty soon as far as the midwives go. Let's do end of session. So Esther, did you show someone that you've still got it?
I feel like flirting with Ida shows that.
I think so. Yeah. Did you behave like a woman half your age? I'll think for both. I think that whole scene with Ida, I think, is satisfying those things for sure. Ruth, did you dote on someone? Definitely. Did you secretly undermine the authority of a local official?
The only thing I can think on that is I did technically steal a snake from the crime scene.
Yeah. That feels a little too indirect.
It's a stretch.
Yeah, it's a stretch. Let's go to Ida. Did you show someone that you've still got it?
I have sort of the same stuff.
This is the same
Esther with
stuff.
this one.
Yes. Yeah, I think you both are going to get those because you have the same ones. And let's go to Laura. Did you secretly undermine the authority of a local official?
I don't think so.
You definitely showed someone that you still got it though by doing
guess.
your cat burgling. I'm sure Otho
Yes.
is
Even if it was
convinced.
only Otho, yes.
Yeah. Good. So that is great. Let's go ahead and go to stars and wishes. Whoever wants to go first, take it away.
Star for this like twin swap happening. I thought that was a lot of fun. It's like a fun TV trope to lead into, and I really enjoyed that happened. I think it was a great moment for Laura and also for Ruth, just like going right along with it.
Yeah, I really loved Ruth getting caught by the twin swap. Like, not like she's probably encountered Laura's sister at some point in the past, and may even like then know that Laura has a twin, but just does not, just immediately buys it. This is Laura, and I loved that. That was great.
Yeah, that was really great going with that.
My first star I'm going to give for the Calamity Raccoons commercial. I thought that was excellent. It was so good. It was sardonic and funny and very like in the spirit of things. So I was like super here for it. Loved that. I've got other stars, but I'll let other people speak.
So I will always give a star to a ghost parody. The pottery scene. I'm always there for that. So
I love it. That was another star for me too. I thought that whole scene with Esther and Ida was quite good. It was very. It hit all the right tones in terms of like where the story was. It connected up a lot of things that have been kind of brewing already as far as that goes, and so that was a big A+ for me. I just thought that was a terrific scene.
Tying into that moment, I want to give a star to the system for like a good reason that we wanted to have a cozy scene was that Esther was up to 3 conditions and needed it mechanically, and I think that if this were a different game, I think interested as we are in where this mystery is going, might have leaned in to continue pursuing the mystery more as we went, and we might not have had that opportunity go the way it did. So sort of some mechanical help to have those nice moments. It was really good.
Still supported by the story too, which I liked though. Like I felt like it made sense that we could find that into the cozy move by having just had these like terrible experiences and being like, let's go get drunk.
Let's get drunk and do some pottery. Yeah, and I think what was so great about it is like, I mean, for all the reasons we've already said, but like it also just sort of, it just kind of fits this whole mystery because you're all like, you're not in Brindlewood Bay, you're in Boston, so maybe you're feeling a little less inhibited in general, and sort of the lack of like inhibitions is sort of coming out a lot in the characters, and I don't know if that's because you're in Boston or what, but it all fits nicely in the story. So I'm very here for it.
I like the whole getting this whole party into a seance and taking over that, which somehow, even though it's a bit weird, it fits with the whole premise and atmosphere of the party. So, and all of these people there. So that I like that a lot.
Also the little detail of Ida like kicking the door down and coming out with like such conviction. To me that really sold the whole thing. It was so fun.
Yeah, it was good. I'll give a star for I'll do a couple. I loved Dan. I loved your commitment to the black egg. The way you committed to that change in Ruth's character was pretty great, and it was hilarious and quite good. And also the whole like just getting Jeremy ready for the party, I think was also really great. And a star to Adrian for I continue to love this almost like separate story that Laura is doing, right? Like Laura continues to be in this like like sometimes it almost feels like Laura's in a different movie. Like it sometimes feels like Laura is in like a sort of early 90s like thriller or something, like that's kind of what it feels like sometimes with Laura. And so I just really enjoyed, I continue to enjoy that. I think because we get to see parts of the story. Like Laura's like our cipher for seeing parts of the story that we might not get otherwise, which I think is terrific.
Yeah, for me, this leads mostly to the question of whether this will end very badly for Laura, which I would be fine with as a player. But yeah, so figure that out.
You have control of it, so I mean, ultimately. Any more stars and wishes?
I did want to. I was thinking about both those things with Dan and with Adrian as well. I loved the egg bit and just Ruth leaning, like really playing her to that. And I've really enjoyed the fact that like it's almost like having an A and B plot, where like if the A plot is like the general investigation of the mystery, there's just this through line of Laura like exploring the darker corners of this world as we go. And so getting more of that, like having her just like in this strange room off of like they're sort of connected to the party. She's like present, but she's not. I don't know. I think it's just a really, really cool motif that we've just
Laura
sort of
finds
carried
herself
through.
in hidden places quite a lot. So yeah.
She seeks them out.
And also like hidden cubby holes as well. Like Laura finds them all.
I think as far as wishes go, I think we're closing in on solving this mystery. So I think maybe a theorized next session would be on my wishes.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking y'all will probably theorize pretty quickly next session, because you've got like 9 clues already, I think. So you've got 9 clues. So it's a +1 on the roll. So that's not bad. Or no, it's a +2. No. It's a plus. No, you have 9 clues. It's a +1 on the roll. Yeah. So that's pretty solid. I think so too.
Plus, if anybody can figure out how a sailor's love letter fits into this.
Oh yeah, you've got the 2 floating
necklace.
clues.
I have
Yeah.
clues.
Yeah, you got the floating clues. Yeah, the floating clues are fun because they have like no obvious meaning to anything.
Right.
So like, and I also like the I'm playing those like little delivery people as like they know something and they're trying to tell you something, but they're not like sharing yet, And so it's kind of fun, that mystery.
Yeah, I really like the scarecrow move. Like it's just very fun to have. It's very cinematic.
Oh yeah. I think my wish is I think I'm gonna. So we're at the place where we can do sweeps week mysteries now. You've unlocked that, and sweeps week mysteries are like the sort of gonzo jumping the shark mysteries that have, and they're not connected to the midwives plot. They're like side mysteries, and they're not always about murder. And so as a wish, I'm thinking I might do one next week. Once you're done with Exit Stage Death, we might do a sweeps week and see how it goes.
My wish is for Ida and Esther to kiss. I feel like it's the slow burn has been like good, but I feel like we've reached the point where it's like time to take it there.
I'm seeing a cinematic ending to this mystery, and I could certainly see that playing into the cinema. We'll see how it pans out.
Any other wishes or stars before we go? Okay. Well, in that case, I had a great time. Thank you all so much. It was a great session, and I'm very excited to continue next week. I'm gonna stop the recording.